Hello there, Jeff here with the Bigshooterist channel. Thanks for tuning in. We're in the middle of testing Liberty gun lubricant. And recently we tested it at the firing range by freezing a pistol in a block of ice, by freezing the lubricant in a block of ice, and illustrating how well it still functions. Today we're in the lab and we're testing it with some electronic equipment in order to measure friction versus resistance. So there's nothing subjective about this test. It's just straight up measurements. And for those of you that don't think a block of ice is cold enough, we're going to introduce you to some dry ice. Stick around, this will be fun. So what we have here is a machine called a Tamkin. It has a steel spindle that rotates at 10,000 revolutions per minute. It interfaces another piece of steel. So you've got steel on steel. And what you do is introduce different types of lubricants to it to find out how it reacts. You can watch it on this meter with the amount of load that it puts on the machine. And this measures the amount of pressure that we're putting on it. This transfer bar is 25 to 1 as a machine. So for every pound of pressure that we apply to the scale, it's actually 25 pounds of pressure that's going to this bearing surface in between the two pieces of steel. Let's shoot one quick piece with no lubricant whatsoever so we can see how it reacts. Yeah, steel on steel doesn't work so well. Let's try introducing some different lubricants. What I've done is gone through my range bag, and one of these range bags goes over 20 years, and just pull out different types of lubes that I have available to me to see how they compare against this Liberty stuff. Let's start with the first one. Looked like around 7 pounds of pressure or so. Between each test, we're starting with a new bearing surface and cleaning everything up, and that way we don't get any residual from a previous test on it either. So each one is just like we're starting out brand new. And you'll notice, I'll give you a close-up, the surface that the spindle hits up against is replaceable. So every one is going to be the same, and one isn't any more worn than the other. It's a really nice way to get a non-subjective test. Let's try another one. That looked to be about 18 or 19 pounds. That's a lot of pressure up against this bearing. Fantastic. Let's get on to another one. Some of the things that we're going to be testing today are not even marketed as gun lubricants. They're just things that I've seen people use on firing lines all across the country. And there's some things that I've tried in a pinch just because I didn't know how they would react, but I needed something. And often something is better than nothing. So let's try one of them right now. much much better out of that. Here's another one that's not marketed as a gun lube, obviously, but I can't tell you the number of times I've been on a firing line and watched people utilize it with their firearms. So let's see how this performs. About 4 pounds. About 4 pounds. And let's try another one. Just under 2 pounds. And let's get back into the more traditional lubricants, gun-type lubricants. Over a pound, and another. About 24 pounds of pressure on that one. And we're almost at the bottom of the things I had in my numerous shooting bag, so we're actually moving along. Done at around 5 pounds. And let's try a dry lubricant. Three to 4 pounds. Try another. Yeah, 2 to 3 pounds. 4 pounds. And one more. And 3 to 4 pounds again. And last but not least, the Liberty. I'm as glad as you are that my range bag isn't any larger and has more stuff in it. Come put some pressure on this. It's around 28 pounds, and it's lifting the machine up off the table, so we're going to put some more pressure on it. Good to go?
Yep. Unless you want to apply a little bit more.
About 30.
About 30?
After letting it ride.
Let's put a little bit more and see what we can get to.
Amazing. Around 30 pounds. Yeah, that's right where it's at, 30 pounds. So enough to, we gotta build a longer machine here or something.
Put some weights on it.
Yeah, at 30 pounds, what's that? 700, 800 pounds of pressure.
I think it's 875 or right around there.
On the surface temperature. I'll look it up and post it on the screen so I don't sound like such a dumbass, but that's pretty amazing stuff. So the cool thing about this test is these are not items that the folks from Liberty Lube brought me to test and kind of gave me as a dog and pony show. They did not say, here are some items, test them against mine and see for yourself if it works well. I went through my range bag and pulled out all of this crazy stuff. Some of it hasn't even been manufactured for years. And obviously some of it's not even intended for use as a firearms lubricant. But I wanted to know, I had questions that I wanted answered, and I assume that you have some of them too. So this was a really cool test, and there's a very distinct difference now between their product and almost all of the other ones. Definitely all of the other ones to the extent that it functioned well. But that alone, shooting the gun isn't enough for some of you. Freezing it in a block of ice isn't enough for some of you. Using the Tamkin like we just did and illustrating how well this stuff works with friction and power load, that's not enough for some of you. I was reading your comments and somebody said, you froze it in a block of ice, big deal. Big deal. I thought that was really cool. What an awesome test that was. But I get it. That's only 32 degrees, and this stuff's going to function down below 81, below zero. So just for you, we're going to start working with some dry ice. Check this out. So, because you demanded it, and regular blocks of ice don't cut it for you, and I'm glad because you teach me things, we've got all of the test subjects piled in a stack of dry ice. Now this goes down to minus 32 Fahrenheit. It's not going to get a reading. Okay, here we go. You can see around it. 7 below, 11, 13, and then it maxes right out. 21 degrees below zero. So this is too cold for this to measure. And to show you that what we're dealing with is dry ice, let's take a few of these and drop them in the water. And yeah, that kind of makes that clear. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig these lubricants out and try to pour some of the content out on a pane of glass that sloped down a few degrees and see what kind of a reaction we get at these cold temperatures. No, this one's not going to work. It's frozen solid.
Because that's a left hand.
Gotcha. All right, let's try another. I have no idea how this is going to work, of course. The only way to know is to try. And this is a ridiculously harsh environment. Yeah, we got nothing. Okay. Got to have a good EDC for when situations arise where you froze your gun lube in a block of dry ice and have to get that open again to get back in business. Yeah, okay, I got nothing. Really completely unexpected, though I don't know what to expect. And we get a little bit from one of our subjects. Let's put those in order. See where the ice separated inside of there, and it's kind of flowing down with it. I got nothing. Now this is ridiculously harsh and extreme, what we're doing. But you asked for it, here it is. Nothing. Got that one flowing. A little bit. See, that's quite frozen up. It's almost like a jam or a jelly up by the top. The Liberty. She's running. Now that's impressive because this is much colder, or has the potential to be much colder. I can't tell because it's maxed out at 32 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. But it certainly stays right in line with the manufacturer's claims of over 80 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. So did a fine job with that, no problem. So I hope that brings things round for everybody and answers any questions anyone had. We've got the practical testing. We've got frozen in a block of ice. We've got lubricating with material that was frozen in the block of ice and running. We've got testing on the machine so we know friction and load. And now we've got it in dry ice, and it's still running. So I'm impressed. I don't get impressed very easily with a lot of products. But this one's doing everything that I was told it would do and much more. And I'm really, really pleased with that. So I hope that you've enjoyed this series of videos. If you're into shooting, if you're one of those guys that say, hey, shut up and shoot more, I'm going to put a link to the video over here. This is video number 1. And in that one, we did a lot of shooting. This was more the technical information. If you're one of those folks that like the technical stuff, I hope this one kind of came full circle with you on the other one. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like the video, share it with your friends in your vast social media network, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and keep checking back. We've got all kinds of cool things going on. If you want to interact with us online on Facebook, we're at facebook.com/guntestvids. And until next time, have fun and be safe.